But my thoughts were elsewhere, focused on the final part of my plan. The next morning, I told Claire I wanted to take some photos of the scenery and suggested she sleep in. She agreed, curling up under the blankets while I grabbed my gear and stepped outside. Only I didn't take any nature pictures. Instead, I carefully set up hidden cameras throughout the cabin, capturing different angles that would tell the story I needed. When Claire finally woke up, I suggested we go for a hike, saying I had found a beautiful spot nearby. She was hesitant at first but eventually agreed. We spent hours walking along the trails, and for a short while I almost forgot the betrayal, almost. Back at the cabin, Claire's phone buzzed non-stop. She glanced at it, her expression changing to irritation. "Work stuff," she muttered, brushing off the notifications. But I knew better. That evening, I made her favorite dinner, refilling her glass of wine every time it got low. She laughed, carefree, completely unaware of the storm that was coming. When she went to the bathroom, I quietly picked up her phone from the counter and sent a single message to him. "Let's end this." Then I deleted the entire conversation, leaving no trace. By the time we returned home, Claire was back to her usual self, her laughter echoing through the house. But when she reached into her purse, her face turned pale. She searched through it, panic growing with every second. "Where is it?" she muttered, her voice shaking. "What's wrong?" I asked, pretending to be concerned. "My wedding ring," she whispered, tears starting to form in her eyes. "Oh no," I said, my voice heavy with fake sympathy. "When did you last have it?" She looked at me, her face filled with guilt and desperation. "I don't know. I must have taken it off somewhere. Course I had hidden it." The ring, once a symbol of our vows, had now become part of my revenge. The next day I put my plan into action. I had prepared a file, neatly organized, detailing her affair in painful detail. Photos, messages, even the receipts. I left it on the kitchen table, knowing she would find it. When she did, the color drained from her face. "What is this?" she asked, her voice barely more than a whisper. "The truth," I replied. "The truth you've been hiding from me for months." She stuttered, trying to explain, to defend herself. But I raised my hand, stopping her. "I don't want your excuses, Claire. I want you to leave." Her eyes widened, and tears streamed down her face. "Please, we can fix this. I'll do anything." "It's too late," I said coldly. "You made your choice. Now I'm making mine." I had already spoken to a lawyer and made sure the divorce would be quick, and in my favor. The evidence I had gathered was more than enough to secure everything. The house, the car, even the savings. Claire was blindsided. As she packed her bags in tears, I felt no regret. She had broken our marriage and destroyed our trust. This wasn't cruelty, it was justice. In the weeks that followed, I started over, rebuilding my life piece by piece. Claire, on the other hand, struggled. The man had completely cut her off, leaving her to face the outcome alone. Even the friends we once shared kept their distance after learning the truth. She had lost everything. One evening, I sat on the porch, sipping a glass of whiskey, thinking back over the past few months. The pain of betrayal was still there, a dull ache in my chest. But so was a sense of victory. I had taken back control of my life. I refused to be a victim. Claire's laughter no longer haunted me. It had been replaced by my own. A laughter born from freedom, strength, and the quiet satisfaction of justice. It was a cool autumn evening when the cracks in my world began to appear. My wife Claire had gone out with her friends, or at least that's what she told me, leaving me at home with a bottle of wine and an old movie to pass the time. We had been married for 7 years, long enough to understand each other's patterns, habits, and subtle signals. But that night something felt different. Her voice on the phone sounded too cheerful, her laughter seemed forced. Still, I brushed it off, reminding myself not to jump to conclusions. She walked through the door just after midnight, giggling like a teenager sneaking in after curfew. Her cheeks were flushed, her hair a little messy, and she carried the unmistakable scent of someone else's cologne. My stomach turned, but I forced a smile, pretending everything was fine. Claire dropped onto the couch, kicked off her heels, and looked at me with a carefree grin. "You're in a good mood," I said, setting down my glass. "Yeah, it was a great night," she replied, her voice high-pitched and almost giddy. "The girls and I had such a good time. Nothing wild, just drinks and laughter." I nodded, watching her closely. Glad to hear it. As the evening went on, I noticed she avoided making eye contact and held onto her phone like it was a lifeline. Suspicion started to grow inside me, but I stayed quiet. Confrontation wasn't my way, at least not yet. Instead, I decided to be patient and observe. After all, trust was supposed to be the foundation of our marriage, or so I believed. The next morning, Claire was unusually cheerful, humming softly as she made breakfast. Her phone buzzed again and again, but she didn't bother to check it. When she left the room, I couldn't resist. I picked up her phone, my heart pounding, and unlocked it. We both knew each other's passcodes, one of those small signs of trust that now felt like a cruel joke. The messages were devastating. "Last night was incredible, red heart, I can still feel your touch." My vision blurred as I scrolled through the long stream of messages from someone saved as M. There were photos too, taken in a dimly lit hotel room. Claire was laughing, holding a glass, leaning across a man I didn't recognize. My world broke in a single moment. The betrayal felt like a punch to the chest, leaving me breathless. I put the phone back exactly where I found it, forcing myself to stay calm. Anger would come later. Right now I needed clarity, a plan. Claire came back into the kitchen, completely unaware of what I had discovered. She kissed me on the cheek and handed me a plate of eggs, her smile as bright as ever. How could she? How could she pretend everything was normal after what she had done? In the days that followed, I felt like a ghost in my own home, watching, listening, slowly uncovering the full extent of her lies. What I thought was a one-night mistake turned out to be far more. It hadn't been a single incident. Claire and the man had been secretly meeting for months, stealing away moments I believed belonged to us. The anger simmered beneath my skin, but I still didn't confront her. Not yet. Instead, I focused on gathering proof. I saved everything: texts, photos, even the receipts she carelessly left in her purse. My plan started to take shape, bringing with it a dark sense of satisfaction. On the outside, I remained the same loyal husband. I cooked her favorite meals, laughed at her jokes, and even planned a weekend trip. Just the two of us. Claire seemed relieved, as if my kindness had erased her guilt. Little did she know, I was carefully setting the stage for her downfall. The weekend getaway was my masterpiece. I booked a cabin in the mountains, quiet, scenic, and far from everything. Claire was overjoyed, saying again and again how much she needed the break. I packed our bags, making sure everything was perfect. Even the camera equipment, part of a new hobby I had recently picked up, came along. She didn't question it. The first night felt magical, at least on the surface. We sipped wine by the fire, talked about our early days, and even danced under the stars.